Good morning, everyone. Clint McLaughlin here, Midwest Market Management. It is Tuesday, February 17th. I got Riley Sykart on with me here today, and we are going to jump into some South America weather with maybe a little more emphasis on the wet regions of Brazil that's getting harvest a little bit delayed. I think we'll talk a little bit about that today here. So appreciate everybody tuning in. Riley, what do we got in store here?
Some tweaks, but nothing major right now. So first thing I want to do, put into perspective how big of a region we're talking about. First crop, we're looking anything from Mato Grosso all the way down through central Argentina. You take just Mato Grosso on a U.S. map, almost the whole Midwest. So very, very large region that we're looking at. Moving ahead here, harvest progress. This was the big changes, but at the same time, not really big changes. Compared to averages and even a little bit with last year, harvest is behind. The one region where it's really important for Safrinha is Mato Grosso, and bean harvest is 46% compared to a 39 last year and a 52% average. So not an astronomical issue. Definitely not something that's going to be helping the corn market, but there is going to be some Safrinha acres that either don't get stuck in or get stuck in past their ideal window. So definitely worth paying attention to. And if the forecast gets too wet, that could be intensified. So moving ahead to your actual weather maps here, 1 to 5 day temperatures. This looks like a map we've been looking at for the last 2 months. Hot in that Paraguay to northern Argentina and getting a little bit into Brazil, and everywhere else pretty mild. So why am I getting into this? 6 to 10 days finally taking that heat away. So no extreme heat for anybody means that a lot of those areas, if they get some rain, there's not really any reason to be thinking about it bullishly or in a reason that could impact us anyway. So market-wise, heat going away is definitely not friendly for the markets. Clint, would you agree?
Yeah.
So moving ahead here, last 2 weeks of rainfall. This is why harvest is slow to the north. Regions with 6+ inches of rain, it's pretty hard to get in the field when it just doesn't quit.
Yeah, this has been ongoing. I would think these, where they've been talking about quality issues down there. It doesn't look like that's getting any better.
No, and can they shuck the rain a lot faster than we can? Definitely. But if it just doesn't stop, then you can't get rid of the rain. So moving ahead, next 5 days, a little bit drier in that same region that has been warm. So I'm not hearing any reports on it, but there are a decent amount of crops grown in that northern region of Argentina and Paraguay. I would expect there will likely be some crop issues in that region, even though we're not hearing big reports. But we're also taken away from national yields that are extremely high. So taken away from record yields and saying that it's not going to be quite so monstrous, not exactly tipping the scales much in terms of how we're looking at it from a market. But other than that, Argentina is getting enough rain in the next 5 days that keeping any bulls from getting too excited there. And Brazil still getting rain. That's the region where there's an issue right now. They can't get the crop out of the ground, and it might be more of the same. An inch over the next 5 days, they might have a window in there to get some stuff done, though. So what is different 6 to 10 day? A lot wetter, especially in almost all of Brazil. For the crop that is planted, getting 2 inches of rain, definitely a good thing. But for the crops they're still trying to get out, that it's getting to be a real issue, I would say. So Argentina in that 6 to 10 day also is drying out. So definitely still worth keeping an eye on down there. So looking over to the Safrinha side of things, temperatures more the same, 80s. Rainfall, we were just kind of mentioning this, but over the next week, a lot of those regions are not going to get in the field if it's just going to keep raining like that. But we'll just have to wait and see if everything in the forecast actually comes, or if a rain does get missed, I would definitely wouldn't be surprised to see the markets reacting negatively if they can get in the field sooner. So 1 week forecast for temperatures for Mato Grosso do Sul and Paraná, straight to the south of where we're just looking. These regions are the ones that are right next to Paraguay, so they are getting some warmer temperatures in Mato Grosso do Sul, but not a real issue that I'm hearing or reading about. And rainfall, they're getting enough rain to tide them by. So that's all I got today, Clint. Overall, it's been a lot of the same in Brazil and Argentina this year. And we always talk about how you can't summarize them in 1 to 2 sentences, but in the north, they're getting too much rain, and in south, they're either not getting enough or they're getting
Just
enough
to get by.
to get by. So that's
I think the biggest issue is, the right now that I see is number one is the harvest pace. Is that going to mess up the Safrinha corn planting pace? Safrinha corn going into mudded in conditions could be an issue. And then the quality, and quality is a tough one. And I know that a lot of producers here in the States have been through this, and, the data still shows up on the government reports as bushels, and that's a sting, because when you're taking 50% dockage, 60% dockage, whatever it may be, it still becomes a cash market issue. It's futures plus basis equals cash, and that's a basis issue, unfortunately. So those numbers will still be in the reports unless they don't get harvested. So at the end of the day, that's what the trade's going to trade. So there's where we are. So appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, Clint McLaughlin, Riley Sidecard, Midwest Market Management. And we'll be back on here Thursday morning. Thanks a lot and have a great day.
This material has been prepared by a sales or trading employee or agent of Midwest Market Management and is in the nature of a solicitation. This material is not a research report prepared by of Midwest Market Management Research Department. By accepting this communication, you agree that you are an experienced user of the futures markets, capable of making independent trading decisions, and agree that you are not and will not rely solely on this communication in making trading decisions. Distribution in some jurisdictions may be prohibited or restricted by law. Persons in possession of this communication indirectly should inform themselves about and observe any such prohibition or restrictions. To the extent that you have received this communication indirectly and solicitations are prohibited in your jurisdiction without registration, the market commentary in this communication should not be considered a solicitation. The risk of loss in trading futures and/or options is substantial, and each investor and/or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated by simulated historical tests of strategies, is not indicative of future results. Trading advice is based on information taken from trades and statistical services and other sources that of Midwest Market Management believes are reliable. We do not guarantee that such information is accurate or complete, and it should not be relied upon as such. Trading advice reflects our good faith judgment at a specific time and is subject to change without notice. There is no guarantee that the advice we give will result in profitable trades.